Claire, we're live for our vision slots.
Fantastic. Hopefully we'll have no technology problems on this one and it'll all go smoothly.
Yeah, can people put in the comments if they can't hear us or anything like that? I know we can hear each other absolutely fine, but actually that's a really good point in case anyone else is having issues. Do let us know.
Yeah, I've got the comments open so I can see those. So I'm Claire Johnson and this is Sarah. And we are going to just talk to you a little bit today about having a vision and I guess why we think it's important. Some tips to help you with your vision and with casting that vision, and also a little exercise to help get you thinking about what's important to you, about what your vision might look like. So we're going to start off just by sharing a little bit about our own experiences. So we're going to take it in turns in talking about how sort of having a vision, even if we maybe didn't think about it as being a vision at that point in time, and how that has sort of helped us to move forward with our businesses and to sort of make big changes. So yeah, I can see, it sounds like everybody can hear us. So that is good. So as I say, I'm Claire. I joined Usborne 5 years ago. And I was very much, like I know so many of us are, one of those people that decided to basically get the box of books. I didn't join because there was a part of me going, I want a business, or I don't want to go back to work, or any of that. I joined because I love books. I was pregnant with my daughter. I was about 7 or 8 weeks. I just got back from a week's holiday and my morning sickness had really kicked in. I was quite anxious and I just needed something to distract me. I saw the box of books. I didn't speak to anybody before joining. I didn't speak to a mentor. I just signed up. And I think probably in the back of my brain, I knew that I wanted a bit of a hobby, a bit of a project, something to work on for me, but that wasn't what my brain was telling me at the time. I joined, I fell in love with it. I got going really quickly. I promoted to team leader really quickly, which was never on the cards, but I just fell in love and I was telling everybody about what I was doing and they could see it shining out of me. They could see how much I loved it. And therefore, actually, my first couple of team members, or certainly my first team member, approached me. It was never on the cards. I've been doing it for 2 weeks. And she was like, she got some books from me and then said, can I join your team? And I was like, yeah. And I was like totally panicking. But at the same time, it just seemed silly to say no. So I decided to give it a go. And I found that I absolutely loved it. I wasn't sort of going for any more than that, really. Obviously, I was pregnant. And I knew that I was going to have complications in my pregnancy. I knew that my daughter was likely to come early because that's exactly what happened with my first pregnancy. And so I joined at the end of May. Had an amazing year. I think I was like runner-up top new recruiter and sort of in the achievement award categories and things like that. So it had been really exciting and really fun. And then obviously I had Martha and that was in the December. The next year I carried on being a really strong team leader. So I hit productivity pretty much every month, all bar a couple. I continued to grow my team. I'd sort of changed how I worked to fit around having a little toddler and a baby at home and a poorly baby, as I touched on earlier. But I wasn't setting the world on fire. You know, I wasn't taking it any further. I had a lovely team of people who were going out and selling books, but not many of those people were sort of going out and building big teams themselves or anything like that. And I had probably backed away from dreaming big, to be completely honest, because I thought it was too hard. I thought that was kind of something that everybody else did and that I wasn't good enough. But most of all, I didn't want to put, that phrase kept coming back to me that I hear so many times, like, I don't want to put any pressure on myself. I don't want to put any pressure on myself. And I was a person at school, I put too much pressure on myself. Like I dropped out of university because I burnt myself out through GCSE and A-level, through just putting so much pressure on myself to achieve. So that was really kind of like close to me. But what I'd done is I'd really confused the difference between dreaming and putting pressure on myself. It doesn't have to be the same thing. And at that point in time, I didn't realize that. So I'd kind of become a victim of circumstance, really, that I wasn't allowing myself to dream big, which meant that I couldn't dream beyond it. Because, of course, if you're not imagining something, if you're not thinking about what it could be, then you're not going to achieve it. Because if it's not in your line of sight, it doesn't exist as far as you're concerned. In January 2017, I left my 1-year-old daughter at home, which was really hard, to attend a company event. And I didn't know how it was going to be. I went along to that event. And I remember sitting there and I remember it getting to the point of them announcing what the next travel incentive was going to be. So Sarah, I'd seen you standing up on stage getting, you know, receiving your Vegas award and all the rest of it. And as they started the travel announcement, now I had my honeymoon in Goa. I went to India for my honeymoon. And I remember just sitting there, and honestly, this sounds like ridiculous, but I swear absolutely that it's the truth. Before that music started playing, before they made the announcement, I just had this flash thought, and I thought, it's going to be India and I'm going. And it was as simple as that. And then this Bollywood kind of music started, and I was like, oh my goodness, if that isn't a sign.
Oh, you've given me goosebumps. Like...
and I had no reason to believe that I could achieve a travel incentive. You know, I was miles away from being what in my head was a travel incentive achiever. It was a huge stretch from what I was doing in my business at that point in time. But I decided that it was my time to start building. It was my time to start making it more. And more importantly, it was my time to start helping other people to get out of Usborne what I was getting out of it, because it felt like I was getting most of the reward at the moment, and I wanted to support more people to get more reward. So yeah, it was just, I started to really think about it. And now I was at kind of an advantage because I'd already been to India. I remembered what it was like when I got off the plane. I remembered that it was, you know, feeling the heat on you. I remember the smells, and I was able to start, I just kept thinking about it, and it kept coming back to me, and I kept using those memories to kind of build on that. I thought about what it would be like to have 5 days of not having to worry about like being there for my children every 5 seconds. The thought of having 5 days of just like brain space away from people demanding things from me all the time. I love my kids, but being a full-time parent is really full on, as a lot of us know. And it was just there, and it kept going on. So I kept coming back to that. I kept thinking about it, and I didn't know really about visualization or anything formal. It wasn't sort of a strategy I was using, but I just, every time that I sat down to work, or every time I was sort of thinking about it, I kept making myself kind of think about what it would be like to be there. And I started furnishing that with more and more detail. So as I started to know who the other contenders were, I started to sort of put them into the picture a little bit and think about, you know, imagining being with those people, like by a pool or going out for dinner or whatever it was. And it just kind of built and built and became more and more real. And I know I'm just going to like add in here that for anyone that watched the first Ask the Leader session, obviously this isn't planned very well, because I didn't know when I planned this session that we were going to be talking about the fact that I didn't go. So you might not have known that bit, but obviously I didn't go to India. But actually, as I touched on the other session, it doesn't matter. What happened was, by having this really clear vision, I did go on to achieve that, but it's not, okay, I didn't go on the holiday, but the self-belief, what I saw was how you could make the business work. What I saw was that my business had massively changed over the course of a year. You know, I went from having just promoted my first couple of team leaders in the autumn before, having never done it, to having, I think it was 7 promotions in 2017. I went through loads of promotions myself. I massively increased my income. I started to see all the potential, but most importantly, I proved to myself what you can do when you put your mind to something. And that's what I'd not really allowed myself to be able to do before. So that really, really helped me. And it was the huge shift. Like the business that I have now, I don't think it would ever have materialized had I not have had that year. And don't get me wrong, I've had plenty of ups and downs since then, as we've already heard, but that gave me that sort of proof that I went to that event thinking that travel incentives was something for other people. I didn't think it was something little old me could do. And the same as the kind of incomes and that kind of thing. But it just made me realize that it's there for the taking for absolutely every single one of us. If we want something enough, we can go out and get it. And what I realized was that I deserved it, and I owed it to myself to go out and build something for me. And that I can be an amazing mum to my kids. I home educated for quite a long time, like Jodie. My kids flexi school now, so they go in 3 days a week, not obviously at the moment, but it made me realise that actually I can still be that really hands-on mum, but have my own career as well. And it did, I'm not going to get emotional, but it did really sort of change everything.
Totally are getting emotional.
And it built up. So it was that exercise, it was that visualisation that did it, and it was that casting that really clear vision. Now, we all have different ways of doing that. I have a vision board here as well, just to show you. So this is something that I actually developed at about the same time, and I've used this vision board for a while. You can see in the middle here, there's a picture of me and my husband up Mount Vesuvius, actually. But underneath there is actually a picture of the Taj Mahal. So when I didn't go to India, I just pasted another travel photo over the top of it. And this was the issue that I had with vision board. So we all do things differently. So on here is the camper van that we wanted. And like a few months after getting the vision board, I'd grown my income enough to be able for us to be able to afford to get the camper van sooner than we thought. My vision now is mainly, it's really hard to get this right, but it's the house by the sea. So that's the only thing on this vision board that I did 3 years ago that I don't have. Everything else is very much about sort of the quality of life we want to have, lots of outdoor time, lots of family time. And that's all there. But actually, for me personally, I find a vision board quite difficult these days because it's quite fixed. I like to change things, and that's why the visualization technique sort of works better for me. So yeah, that's my experience. I'll pass it over to Sarah.
Thank you. Do you know what? Just seeing your vision board, because obviously we were at the same session when we made those vision boards. I have exactly the same joyful cut out, obviously out of the same magazine, stuck on mine. I was like, oh, I reckon. So I was looking around trying to find mine, can't see it. Oh, I love your story. It's fantastic. Obviously heard it before, and so much crosses over. So it's time for me to do a little bit about me. So I am Sarah. I have been with Usborne now. It'd be 6 years in September, which terrifies me. I think it's something tipping from like 5 to 6 that makes you feel like a really long time. But like Clare, I didn't join this for a business at all. In fact, I'd shut down a business that I'd ran 3 months before then and just wanted time to be mummy again, just wanted to be me. And I joined for the cheaper books. But like Clare as well, when those books arrived, I fell in love with it. I just wanted to get a little bit involved. I had a home party. Decided I wanted to work with my school, so I thought I'd do 6 orders and do that, and then I'd do nothing else. But I got a bit carried away with it. I think sometimes this business runs away with us. I suddenly found out that I was missing something in my life, something to do, something to focus on, and Usborne filled that gap. Like Clare, I wasn't looking to recruit, but because I was passionate and because I was showing what I was doing and having a great time with it, my first 2 recruits came exactly the same way Claire's did, which were people contacting me going, I've seen what you're doing, can I join your team? And like Clare, it made no sense to say no. So I was like, okay, if you want, like, don't know what I'm doing, but yeah, let's go with that. And went to a gala. So you went to your first gala 2017. Is that the one you went to first? So mine was 2015. And I literally only went because, like Clare, I was also pregnant. I got pregnant 2 weeks after I joined Usborne. We conceived my 4th child. So I was 15 weeks pregnant. I was shattered, and I thought, it's 15 minutes down the road. It's a night away where I don't get woken up by any children and can lie in and have like a nice 3-course dinner. So literally that was my driver for going. I wasn't really looking to be inspired or finding out more about the business. I was quite happy in my bubble. But I got massively inspired. Absolutely incredible watching people go up on stage time and time again, talking about what Usborne had given them, talking about how they had left their jobs, how this had provided holidays for them, the things that they had gone on. And I suddenly had that light bulb moment of, so why am I not doing this? Why am I, right, if this is here in front of me and I'm obviously doing fairly well with it, I'm enjoying it, I've got some team members, why am I not doing any more of it? So the message that I took away from that was to really start getting everything in this business. You need to be a team leader. That's what I was hearing. Everyone who was going up on stage was at this team leader level or above. And that was where it started. So I made the decision that what if I just tried to get to that level, if I gave that a go? So that's what I did. I came away. That event was on the 8th of January. And by the 26th, I'd recruited another 6 people and got my promotion to team leader. So I did it in about 3 weeks once I made the decision that I was going to go for team leader. Unfortunately, that was outside my double promotion bonus because I hadn't actually looked at the incentives or anything like that. If I'd have known, I probably would have done it in November because I had quite good volume anyway, but it just wasn't on my radar at all. I wasn't an amazing leader straight away, though. So it took me 18 months to progress from that point. I wasn't consecutively in business development program on gold. So I qualified, promoted in the January. I got paid as a team leader February, March and April. And then May, I didn't. So I'd immediately dropped back out. I didn't get paid in August either. And I was, unlike Clare, who said she didn't want to put that pressure on themselves. I just had limited beliefs in what I could achieve. So I didn't ever really believe that I could achieve more than what I was doing. I was very much going, I needed the 1,500 or 1,800 to be a team leader every month. And every single month, it would get to the end of that month and I'd be scraping around trying to get volume because that was where my ceiling was. My limit of my belief was this is what the target is. This is what I'm going to hit. I wasn't really thinking any bigger than that. until I went to the 2016 gala, which is the first time we had Andy Cope come and speak about the art of happiness and being brilliant and about taking limits off. And also they, like that, it was a travel incentive that really got me. They launched the Vegas travel incentive in 2016. And I sat there going, I want to be on that. Vegas is somewhere I'd always wanted to go, like always just wanted to go and experience what that was. It just intrigued me for as long as I can remember. My ex-husband was very much never ever wanted to go there, has no desire whatsoever. We were never ever going to go there as a family. So it suddenly became this thing that was achievable for me to do without having to have this great big income or pay to myself or make a decision to go on holiday without the rest of my family, that I could go for. And like you, Claire, it was absolutely bonkers to think that I was anyone that could achieve a travel incentive. Like I literally was been struggling to qualify. I had promoted out one leader that year and they demoted very, very quickly afterwards. So I sat there in January 2017 writing this goal that I want to go to Vegas with no team leaders under me. I had 35 people in my team and I just went, I've got to do it. And so I'm going to do it. I have to take the limits off. I have to go for double. So my plan was to go for double what I needed. So instead of hitting 1,500, it was going to be 3,000 for productivity every month. Instead of promoting one team leader a season, it was going to be 2 team leaders a season. And the change that had in my business was absolutely phenomenal. I then went on to promote to group leader in June, to divisional leader in August, and executive leader in the October. And I've had that title ever since then. So say we started with 35 people in the team. We ended the year with 785 people in the team and 60 leaders within the team as well. It literally just took the limits off. And then I got Vegas as well, which was just incredible. And I think for me, it was having that vision of the travel incentive, having that I just knew I wanted it so much that it was driving me through to get it. And the result was an incredible business that came around it. And I loved every part of that trip as well. There's nothing quite like the travel incentive. But it was just that vision of going for it. I made my vision board like you did, but vision boards don't really work for me. I use vision more of a way to reflect, actually. So I'm going to show you something. So in terms of setting your vision, we talk about doing a vision board like you have there, doing a digital one. So I'm just going to change the screen slightly and add in this. So this isn't a digital vision board. This is something I've used actually in a training since of some of the achievements that I've had. So I use it much more for reflection, but I have had vision boards like this as well. So things like taking my family to Disney. This was travel incentive, being back riding horse. We went to Tunisia. We have a pony now for my daughter. That was that. Sorry, Claire, that was India. The Taj Mahal, which was amazing. Being up on stage at gala, all those type of things. But sometimes it is nice to have that. There's other things that keep me going as well and keep me in line with my vision. And I wasn't planning on showing this, but I've just seen it when you were showing yours. What I do have is this. This was up in my office, but I've moved out of my office recently. And this is a combination of notes, photos, cards, and things that I've been sent from some of my team. So some of the people I've inspired or helped, and thank yous and things. And it just reminds me every single day why I do this, what I'm working for. And it's to helping other people really to have the life that we have that income by being there for the kids and things. And I think that for me really, really drives me to keep going. Absolutely love that. I've realized we're running out of time as well. Like you, visualizing comes into what I do as well. But it is about, if you don't know where you're going, you're never going to get there. And it's about having that vision, having that target, having that thing that you're working for. So what we wanted to do now, and I appreciate we've got very little time, so we're going to have to do this quite quickly, is Claire and I wanted to do a little exercise, if you've got pen and paper, where we're going to ask some quick fire questions that you're going to write down the answers to. And it may be that you come back and do these later after you've watched the rest of the trainings as well and do it again. And And I want the idea is to answer them really quickly, so you're not overthinking them. You want to just be from your heart, really, not trying to think of the perfect answer, because you can go back and adjust it. So Claire, do you want to go through and read some of your questions out?
So I think one of the important things to remember is this needs to be about your answers, because we've talked about our visions and what our visions were, and it's really easy. Obviously, be inspired by everyone, but just make sure that this is going to be your own, and this is where the questions kind of come in. So my first question to you would be, how do you want to spend your time? So think about, in an ideal world, how you would be spending your time. How would that be broken up?
I think that's key. This is like money's no object, ideal world. You know, this
ideal
is
world.
what your life looks like.
And then who do you want to spend that time with? And then thinking into the future, quite into the future, what would an ideal retirement look like to you? What places do you want to visit throughout your lifetime, and who with? What kind of things and experiences would you love to do while you're there? What experiences do you know that you absolutely just want to have in your lifetime? And what about your family's desires as well? How would your ideal day-to-day week look? I need to remember to give you a little bit of time to write.
It's all right. They can watch back.
That gets
running out of time.
Is, what would you like to be remembered for?
That's such an important question, and people don't
really is,
think about that.
There's that whole legacy thing, isn't it? What would you want your legacy to be? How do you want people to remember you? And then my last question on my list is, again, a big one, and that is, are you ready? What would a life that you didn't need to escape from look like for you?
It is a big one.
Someone's just asking if they can be written down. Yeah, what I will do, obviously it's quite a busy day today, but I will make sure that I've typed up the questions into a little graphic and I'll post them as well, so that you don't have to watch the whole video back to get back to them.
Okay, so the questions I'm going to ask are a little bit more direct, I think. So again, just write down whatever pops into your head, and if you miss one, you can't think, just move on to the next one. And I'm not going to do many of these, but we'll start with, you know, ideal world. So no lockdown, no money is the issue. If you're going to get up tomorrow morning and take your family out for the day, where would it be? If you're going to take everyone out for the day, where would it be?
That's such a good exercise at the moment, because I think we're all desperate to get out. So it's like...
So if you and your partner could go out on any date this evening, what would that look like? If you could order a takeout tonight, what would it be? Hairdresser, Edinburgh. I'm loving seeing the answers as well. If you were going to buy your dream car, what car would it be? What colour would that car be? If you were going to go for a weekend away somewhere, who would it be with, and where would you go? If you're going to buy a new house, what would it look like? How many bedrooms does it have? I love that someone's put camper van. I knew someone was going to have camper van come up here somewhere. If you were to book a holiday, no money issue, where are you booking? Oh, hi, Martha. If you were going to buy a holiday home, where would that be? what 5 countries do you want to visit in the next 10 years? And finally, I'm going to do one like Claire's a little bit now. But most of you have children. So when your children have children, what do you want your life to look like when your grandkids come to visit? And I'm going to end it on that one. Claire, we're 1 minute over time, but we said we're going to do 3 tips. Do you want to quickly give your tips?
Yeah, so just very quickly, my 3 tips were about staying close to your vision. So obviously, once you've cast it, it's no point just putting it to one side. You need to be able to revisit it regularly. So one thing, important tip for me, is to dig deeper and to really make sure that you're really clear on why you want these things. There's an exercise in Tools and Downloads, if you've not seen it before, I know a lot of you will have done, which is called the why exercise. And it's really good for just digging down and making sure that, you know, you're focusing on things that are right for you and for the right reasons. My second tip is just to find a way that really suits you. So for some people, it might be writing a really clear vision down. That might resonate best with you. And then you can read it back regularly. Having something, a picture or a quote or something as your phone screensaver, again, something you're looking at a lot. But pictures on the fridge, like, it's all about being able to see it and being close to it really regularly. A vision board like that, or just like my visualization for India became a habit. So there will be certain times of day where I'd naturally just let myself kind of like drift off to that little daydreamy place to be there. But to do that, it has to be a habit. You have to make sure you're working it into every day. And then the third one would be to don't look sideways, which it's like, how is that to do with like keeping close? But actually, somebody else is probably always going to be doing it bigger than you or faster than you, or it's going to feel like they are, even if actually they're not really. So the whole thing with this is actually, it doesn't matter what everybody else's experiences are. Like, put those blinkers on and focus on what your journey is and what you want your life to look like, because otherwise the danger is you veer off on the wrong path for you and you'll end up getting really frustrated by it. So yeah, they would be my 3 tips.
I love that about not looking sideways. It happens so often that people are looking what everyone else is achieving and not their own. And something I've been saying a lot recently is I seem to be in my own bubble through lockdown. And actually, that's probably just exactly where I need to be, is in my own bubble during lockdown. So my 3 tips about casting your big vision, really staying close to that. So I think for me, it's a little bit like Claire, actually being true to yourself, making sure when you put these dream downs, when you're thinking about your future, when you're thinking big, that it aligns with you. You're not writing things down that you think you should write because the world tells us we should have this type of house, or we should live in this type of place, or the ideal life is that. Screw that. This is your life and it's how you want to live it. So when you are writing those dreams down, in whatever way that is, vision board or not, and actually something I didn't say, I'm not a visual person really, so vision boards are not great for me. I'm an audio person. So what I have done is recorded a video of me telling myself what my goals are and why I deserve them, and I will share that probably tomorrow in here as well. So knowing how you work and what inspires you. So that's my second tip, really, understanding yourself and what's going to drive you. Like Claire, I go into that little trance place actually when I do visualizing, and for me it's every morning as I'm just waking up. I then spend time in that daydreamy place, and sometimes I would spend 10 minutes in the day where I just go and shut my eyes and lay down and let things flow. I think that's really important. My third tip is to absolutely believe that you are capable to do it and know that you absolutely deserve it. You know, don't put limits on yourself in any way, shape or form. Everyone has been through different things. Everyone has a different life. That's why you can't look sideways. But know that you are worthy and deserving to have the things that you've put down on that list, and believe that you know that you are going to make that happen. So yeah, they're my tips. But you know, just this whole session, having goals, setting a vision, and knowing that you can get there, I think is really, really important. Yeah. I believe there's a 15-minute break now as well, or 10-minute now. We've gone 5 minutes over.
Yeah. So Sue Pittman will be on, and our fantastic leadership and business development manager will be here at 11:15. So do go to the toilet, get yourself a cup of tea, whatever you need. Thanks so much for attending. Enjoy the rest of your day, Sarah. We can sit back and relax and enjoy it now.
Yes, we're done. Thanks, guys. We just see you soon. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.